Hey guys, so here's Oliver and his mommy, his auntie, Joanne, requested a video of him and I'm in the light. Here he is, he's just dressed in some vintage, things. I put a makeshift cloth diaper on him, which is actually just a, dish towel. So for those of you that wanted a cheap and inexpensive way of making, cloth diapers for your reborns, dish towels are the way to go because they're like $5 for a pack of 10. And then his booties he came with, these are the original booties to the Charlie doll and him. And then this shirt I had, and I figured it looked nice, so I put it on him. And then the passy, it's not really vintage, but yeah. And then the fake rattle, I just have that there, and his blankie, and then his bottle. And the shawl that he's laying on is a real vintage shawl. My great-grandmother made it. My great-grandma, she made it. At least I think she made it. I'm not sure if she brought it or made it, but, I'm assuming she made it. But, it is a nice, it's a nice hand-knit, little shawl. I'm guessing it's maybe from the 20s, maybe the 30s, somewhere around that time period. I mean, it could be a little more modern than what it is, but I know she had it when my Uncle Peter was born, and it was from the time back when, I think maybe from the 20s to the 50s-ish, maybe, or the early 60s, maybe. I'm not sure. I know that it was, she had it during the time that, doctors used to make the house calls, and if you were sick in bed, if you're a woman and you were sick in bed, you didn't want to look inappropriate, so you'd have to have like a shawl. They'd call them bed shawls. And they'd come to about, maybe here on your waist, maybe down here, but it was just enough to cover your upper body and everything and be appropriate for the doctor. And you'd only have a little bit of your upper chest exposed, enough for the doctor to listen to your heart and everything. At least that's what my grandmother told me. That's because my grandmother was born 49, but she grew up in the 50s, but this is just a little history on this. So I'm sure my Nana, my great-grandmother, used to use it when she was sick, if she was sick in bed. I'm sure she used to use it. And my aunt has a quilt from her my aunt's got a quilt from her that she made, from way back when. I'm not sure what time period it was from, but I do know this is a little vintage. She used to have, like, furniture from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, 60s, on up to the 70s even. The early 80s and the late 90s and stuff. She used to have furniture from all that, and, she passed away, and my aunt's husband, a few years, after that, he'd passed away, and she had to sell, some things in order to get ready to sell the house because she didn't want to live in the house anymore. So she had to sell a couple of the older vintage items, and my aunt had said, you know, listen, I've got a lot of your grandmother's stuff. What do you want? I said, well, what does she have? She said, she has a nice big vanity, and I didn't need it because I have a vanity. She said she has a vanity, she's got some furniture, she's got a couple of shawls, which these were the shawls. It was this one and then another one that was really soft and warm. And she said she's got a couple of shawls, and she got some hats, some purses. She said, what do you want? I said, what color are the shawls? And she said, they're both white. I said, I want the white shawls. And this is what I got when my grandmother passed away. And I will be wearing it when I go to the hospital to give birth to my child, when I have a child someday. So this is going to be worn at the hospital when I have my baby, if I ever have a baby. Because I'm pretty sure my grandmother wore it to the hospital when she had her son. And I'm going to wear it to the hospital in the future when I have my baby. So yeah, that's just a little bit of history. And a little fun fact is, my Uncle Peter was born in the early to late 60s, and at the time, they didn't have hospital bracelets like they do now. So they used to take the little, letter beads, and they would spell out the last name of the mother and father. And if it was a boy, it would have blue beads, and then the last name. And If it were a girl, it would have the pink beads around it, and it would have the name. But the names, they weren't plastic back then, they were glass, and they'd have the actual porcelain letters on there. And, like, if your name was Smith, if the baby's name was Smith, if the baby's last name was Smith, they would have the baby's last name. And then it would have, if it were a boy or girl, it would have pink or blue on the band. So that's just a little fun fact. My aunt actually has my Uncle Peter's hospital bracelet. It's not a hospital bracelet like you're thinking, like today's modern hospital blanket bracelets, but it's actually the beaded ones from the 50s or 60s. So, but yeah, here's Ollie Pop, and he's like, "Mom, get this off of me now." Sorry, I'm in the light. He's like, "Mom, get this off of me," before I scream and holler. So I'm gonna go get this off of him, guys, and yeah.